Hey there all you nail techs and nail lovers, Courtney here, and today I'm back again to talk to you about custom press-on nails. So yesterday we talked about all the things that you need, the physical products that you have to own in order to make nails like this. And today we're going to be talking about all the things you need to do before you start selling sets. So if you're just making them for yourself, you probably don't need to watch this video. But if you are intending to sell them, then this will be a lot of help for you. So the first thing that you need to do before you start is to measure all of your little tips here. So what you're going to use to do that is this flexible tape measure. You can find these in sewing kits and in the pound shop or the dollar store or whatever. And when you measure the tips, you want to go on the inside of the nail because that's the part that's going to have contact with the natural nail. So you find the part that sits just under the free edge here, and that will usually be the widest part of people's nails, and so that is the part that you ask them to measure when they're measuring their nails. So go ahead and stick your little tape measure pardon me, inside the nail and curl it so that it has full contact and measure that part of the nail. So I can see that this is about 18 millimeters. So if we look at my nail, that's also about 18 millimeters. So that would be a good fit and it covers the whole nail. So get yourself a little list like this and just write down all of your tip numbers and then the width in millimeters. Because that's, holy, how long's my pencil? That's what you're going to ask your potential customers to measure their nails in because they don't have the actual tips to tell you what size tip to send. So they'll send you their measurements in millimeters and then you find the tip that matches their size. So I'll just do a couple and show you. It is a little bit fiddly to start off with. Pardon me, but it does get quicker as you go along. So this one, let's see, you can see that there is a little bit hanging off there, so I wouldn't use this tip for this nail. It's a little bit too small, so it's definitely going to be smaller than 18 millimeters. Oh, I wanted to look at where the thing was. So about there. Oops. So that one, I would say, is 16 millimeters. What's this one? Go about there. This one is 15. Now, size 3 and 4 are really very similar for these nails, I do know. So you kind of do need to be very pedantic and get the exact measurements. Let's see. So we want to go about there. So that's just under 15. So I'm going to call that 14 and a half. 0, 1, 2, 3. Yep. It's hard to keep track of them. And that one I would call 14. So they'll just keep getting smaller. That one is 13 and a half. And so this one is probably going to be 13. Did I get it from there? 6? Yeah, I think so. So this is 12. That looks like an 11. And this one is a 10. So I very rudely assumed that you all know how to use a tape measure, but some of you might not, I guess. So these are centimeters, and every little line is a millimeter. So the first big line is 5 millimeters, and then that's 10 millimeters. Just in case you didn't know how to do that, you probably do. Okay, so that's that done. That's your first step. Do that with all of your tips, all of your shapes that you have, and then make up your list. This is like going to be your gold dust because that was annoying and you don't want to have to do that over and over again. So have a list, print them up on your computer, and you can make it so that you can just stick it on your wall or have it as a reference in a book or memorize them. I don't know, but that's going to be very helpful for you. So once that's done, you are going to need to make some pre-sized templates. So most people's nails will fall into like an extra small, small, medium, or large category. Sometimes they might not. Let's see what mine are and we'll see where I fall into them. So this is your visual reference that you would give to your customers, and you would ask them to measure their nails with a tape measure or a piece of tape. I have seen people say to take a piece of tape and stick it to the nail and make a mark with a pen on either side, and then you can lay that flat and use a ruler to measure the space in between the lines. But I just ask people to use a tape measure because most people have them. So my thumb, as we saw before, is 18 millimeters. My index finger, I will do it from a different one so I can hold it. My nails are not in very good condition, and that's because I make poor choices. Don't be like me, you make good choices. Okay. So that looks like 10, 12. Ooh, this is tricky. I'm just lining up the big line on one side of my nail and then looking on the other side to see where it is. So I have giant middle fingernails. That is 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half, I would say. This one is about a 13. What's that? Ring finger. And this one is a solid 10. So that's what the customer will do, and then they'll look at your sizes. So my thumb is an 18, so already I'm at large. My index is a 12, so I'm a little bit smaller than that. Middle is a 13 and a half, ring finger is 13, and pinky is 10. So these ones don't match my nails. So the customer would say, oh, I'm a large, but actually the index and the middle and the ring finger are just a little bit out. Is there any way that you can change that? And you would say, of course, I'll just make you a large, but instead of these three, I'll send you ones to fit those. And you would look back at your measurements and say, okay, so she has a large is 18 for the thumb, so that's a tip size 0. 12 is a 7. 13 and a half is a 5. 13 is a 6, and a pinky is 10. And so that's a tip size 9. So these are the millimeters, and these are the tip sizes that you have written or printed on your tips, and so those are the ones that you're going to want to use. Another thing that you can do, if a customer doesn't want to measure their nails, if they're not comfortable measuring their nails, you can send them one each of a tip, and they would be able to measure them and message you back and say, these are the tips that I want for each finger. Or you could just create a set of 20 nails, providing 2 each of every size, and when the customer gets the nails, they could just pick them out of the box and say, okay, yep, that's the one I want for that finger. That's the one I want for that finger. That's for that. Oh, I really wanted that to fit. Never mind. That will go for that one. Maybe that'll fit my pinky. No. Darn it. Let's see, this one. No. Oops, wrong finger. And then that one. So they would take these out, and then sadly the rest of them would go in the bin. Or maybe they have a friend who has the exact measurements of the nails that they're not using. Oh, that's disappointing. This is the problem with making a set of 22 or 20, because you just don't know which ones are going to get a design. And if you want to, I mean, you can't do a design on every single nail. It takes hours and hours and hours. It wouldn't be very cost efficient. So that's another option that you could do. It works well if you're providing people with like a plain set and they didn't want any specific designs on them. But if you're doing any kind of designs, it's best to just get their measurements, get them to measure their nails, or send them like some tips so they can measure and then get back to you. So this is something that you can create really easily. I did this on Photoshop on my computer. There's a lot of different guides on the internet if you want to have a look online and get some inspiration. Then that's cool. I also have these that I keep in a file, but my house is all packed away because we were supposed to be moving a couple weeks ago, but we haven't. So I'm still living out of boxes. But when people order a set of nails, I just write their name on top of this, like that. And then this is square. And so these are their measurements. And so the next time they order, they won't have to tell me anything. They just tell me what they want on the nails, and I can find their name in my file and just go, okay, well, that's what they had. If it's a different shape of nail, then they will have to, they don't need to measure their nails again, but you will need to check the shapes against your graphs that you made, right? So if I wanted a coffin in these sizes, I would look and say, okay, 18, so for a coffin, it's still a 0. 12 millimeters is a 5 or a 6. 13 and a half. If it's a half and you don't have a half, then go bigger, because the client can always file away a little bit from the cuticle area, but they can't like add more. So that's 13 and a half for my middle finger. I'm going to go with a tip size 3. 13, so that will be a 4, and 10 for my pinky, that will be a size 8. So the same person will have another card, and it will be labeled coffin. And so you just put the measurements for coffin in like that. And so you always have these things on hand, and it's really easy to just pull it out for that particular client and get started straight away. So that is the sizing. So that's one of your visual guides that you have. You can also do some instructions, so I recommend that. Most people know how to stick fake nails onto their hands, but some people might need a little bit of instruction. So I created these, and they just get folded in half and sent in the envelope to the client. You can put them on cards or make something dead fancy, but I really am not fancy. So I just put it on a piece of paper. You're going to know what to write on it, because it's just pretend like you're going to put on a set of fake nails and write down everything that you do, and then just make it a little bit easier to understand for somebody who might not have any idea whatsoever what they're doing. So I have one set of instructions for the nail glue. I have one set of instructions for adhesive tabs, and then I have instructions for removal as well. I recommend that you wear these tips, put them on, write down what you've done, take them off when they're ready so that you know exactly what you need to be including in these instructions. So that is that. Now, terms and conditions is something that a lot of people don't do. I don't really have any terms and conditions other than I have a little disclaimer at the bottom of my instructions. It says we are not responsible for any injury or contraction that occurs as a result of removal or occurs as a result of wearing our custom tips. People might not get good coverage with the glue, and so the contact might not be good, and they'll get water under the nails and they might turn green. They may be irritated with you because of that, but chances are that they're going to know that that's something that they have done wrong. It's just like when you buy tips from the supermarket or the drugstore or whatever. You take a risk, and you don't see anybody bad-mouthing Boots because they sold them false nails that they didn't apply properly and turned their nails green. Just kind of put a disclaimer, or you can write up a full terms and conditions if you like. I didn't really feel like doing that, but it is probably something that we should be doing to cover our bums. Now, let's see. I'm just looking at my list that I typed up yesterday to make this video. Sizing kits and application kits. So yeah, you can make up a sizing kit that you can send to your customers. It's really not ideal in these times because we're supposed to be avoiding going out unnecessarily. So going back and forth to the post office probably isn't ideal, but you can make a sizing kit and send that out to them and then get them to message you back with the measurements rather than sending anything back to you. You'll have to charge for it, so I think most people would probably be more interested in just getting a tape measure from their cupboard or their junk drawer and measuring their nails and sending you those, and that's free of charge. So you don't have to provide an application kit with them, but I do, and I charge for it. And it includes all the things that I talked about yesterday, the adhesive tabs and the glue and a little file and an orange wood stick and an alcohol wipe. I put these in little organza bags that I'm destroying now with that orange wood stick. They're for weddings and stuff. People put wedding favors in them. But they were pretty cheap. You can put them in anything. You could put it in a little plastic bag or whatever, but this is a nice touch, and then they can hang on to it and use it for something else. Reduce, reuse, recycle, right? So I think that's it for this video. That's all the things that you need to do before you start selling these tips. Get your measurements written down, typed up, and kept somewhere safe under lock and key. Create your pre-sized tip measurements. Let's go back to that actually, because where did it go? Here it is. These are sizes that I've made based on what people have ordered. I've sold quite a few, so I just took the averages that people had and made the sizes. You can do these any size you like, really. You can look at everybody else's sizes that they do and kind of get an idea of what ones are popular for small, medium, and large. You can find examples of this on my Facebook group, Custom Tip Creators Support and Advice. I'll put a link in the comments below. You need to answer some entry questions to get into that group, and if you don't answer them, it just automatically won't send you for approval. So please answer all the questions or you won't get in. and there's loads of information on there. Everybody is sharing all their experiences, their tips, and like ideas and pictures. It's such a fantastic group to be a part of, and I'm so proud of all of our members in that group because we all get along and we all love to help each other and see each other succeed. So that's really nice. So go and check that out. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. I'll put most of it, I'll write it down, what I've said, not word for word, but I'll write it down in the description box, and that's it. So I'll do another video, and I want to put on some nails, but I don't want to wear these because they're Christmas and they don't actually fit me the way that I want the designs to work. So what I'll do in my next video is make a set of press-ons. I'll just do a basic set, I think, and then I'll apply them to my own nails, which I very kindly took all of the polish off of them, all of the builder and everything, and I've been walking around naked for 2 days now. Not actually naked, but my nails. So I'll do a set and put them on my nails and show you how to do that, and then I'll do another video with a removal, and that should be a wrap. So have fun, get at me if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.